Hello everyone, welcome back to Cuphead, not Cuphead, sorry. Um, GoFF 2025 Fall Edition. We have the second Cuphead in a row, except this time it's the base game instead of the DLC, run by SBDWolf, and joining him in commentary we got Michael.
Hi. So SBDWolf is me, for in case that wasn't clear enough. And Michael is here on the commentary. Say hi if you want to.
Hello.
Alrighty. So I guess just a little bit of an introduction about this category. This is the base game. This is what has over the years become Cuphead's main category. So this is 80% 1.1 plus. So the objective is going to be to beat the main game, so that we're gonna try to beat the devil. So every boss in the game to get there. And it's going to be played on version 1.1. The reason why is because the launch version, which is 1.0, is much more broken than this, and it has its own category. So 1.1 is basically like the mostly no major glitches, except there's a few that make the run pretty cool. So we'll go over it as we go, but in the meanwhile, I guess I'll give a bit of a countdown before we start the run. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. It's
Oh.
time to roam around the Rinkwell Isles or something like that. Alright, so the Elder Kettle is the hardest boss in the game. Looks like we got a good pattern. A bit of slop, but okay, we still got a good
Nice. Oh my god. That was nice. Clutch that out.
You know, I forgot to pull up life split, so I have no idea what the loadless time for this run is gonna be. Surely I won't be beat, right?
Nah.
Alright, so you wanna talk a little bit about the route for this category while I play?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we kind of snake our way around the aisles, making sure to optimize our map movement as we go. So that starts with Forest Follies, where we grab all 5 coins so we could afford the optimal loadout, which is Lobber Spread. And the reason we get those is because we could do a bunch of different tricks with them. Specifically, Lobber. You could explain that.
Yeah, so we just did that running gun so that we can buy that stuff. Spread Shot is going to be one of the 2 weapons that we're going to buy. That is the highest damaging weapon in the game. And the only drawback of it is that it has a really short range, so we're going to have to play very, very up close and personal to most bosses. And then the other weapon we're going to get is more of a utility support weapon, which is Blubber. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, you can use its like bouncy properties to set up traps for bosses, and we'll see a little bit of that on this first boss, which is the Root Pack. This is gonna be a 3-phase fight, and when the onion comes in, we're gonna have a bit of downtime. And during this downtime, we can actually use it to set up some lubbers. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that all dealt a ton of damage, and we could not do that with most other weapons, and we just sped up the onion by quite a lot. Additionally, the Lubber still has decent damage, but offers also a pretty long range, so we'll be able to use it on some fights where it will be difficult to get up close enough to be able to hit full spread damage. And then the other reason, and we'll use it a bit more on the next fight, is that its EX move is basically broken in multiple ways, but basically the way it works, and EX moves, by the way, in this game, are basically a special attack that you can do by consuming a card which you collect. You'll see it in the bottom left. You collect Super Meter by shooting bosses enough, and once you collect enough, you'll get a card that allows you to use an EX move. So it's basically a special move for a weapon. And the Lubber EX is special in that when it hits the ground, it erroneously basically explodes twice. I think we'll do Super Skip here. Or maybe not. Okay. Ooh. I think I have to unload every card here.
That'd be scary.
Or maybe not. Okay, no, we'll just have to see phase 2 here. Okay. We were pretty close to it, but I took it safe with those flies because I didn't super trust them. Yeah, but yeah, basically it explodes twice, and so it does double damage. And so we can get a pretty insane amount of damage in situations in which we can hit an enemy that is close enough to the ground. Alright, for this final phase, it has 3 patterns. I got the hardest one. Try to focus on this. Okay. That was actually a
Dang.
pretty lucky set of flames. They can be either up or down, and the only things you know about where these flames are going to be is that the first one is always aimed up, and there's a failsafe that makes it so that you can't have more than 3 flames in the same direction in a row. So after I saw that third up flame, I knew that I had to jump. Alrighty, and the next boss is Goopy, normally one of the easiest bosses in the game for casual. It's actually pretty hard for this category. First because in this phase 1 we have to do some pretty difficult tracking with our spread shot, as Goopy is a bit of a slippery boss. But most importantly, in phase 2 there is a bit of a spread swap mechanic. Do you want to explain that one, Michael?
Yeah, sure. So, in between phases 2 and 3, actually no, between 1 and 2, if you shoot your EX
There.
right here, yeah, right there, it swaps both sprites so you can hit both hitboxes like one after the other, and that was a really good fight actually.
Yeah, thanks.
So he dealt like what 6x damage with 1 EX just because of that setup. That sprite swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget to
So,
mention triple.
yeah, it's a pretty... sorry?
I was joking and saying don't forget to mention triple by Michael.
Right.
Yeah, the triple setup that Michael came up with. Alright, I guess we're on to the first shoot 'em up style boss fight. Cuphead has a few of these, and this is going to be our introduction. So we're on a plane, we have a machine gun that you can use to shoot, and that's that. We also have an EX move, and it deals more damage the more it travels to a hitbox. So Hilda's going to do this twice during the fight. So we're gonna use a damage boost in order to basically have... I should have shot an extra EX here. Oh well. Basically make it so that we can have iframes and shoot this EX along with Hilda, which can hit up to 11 times. Ooh, I just died. Okay.
Ooh.
So that makes me happy that I didn't have life split up. Because... Because now I know that I won't PB.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that basically makes it do a ton more damage. Like a more average amount of takes is like maybe 3 or 4 per EX. So just shooting that one EX during the RAM will save just a few seconds right then and there. Obviously, the downside of that is that we're down to 1 HP pretty quickly. So we have to make sure that we don't get hit like we had happened earlier. Just the last phase here for the plimp form. There's a parry here. Trying to aim my axes to track Hilda so that it hits when she's on the left side and going back to the right. And here we're on to the final phase where we have a bit of a mechanic where Hilda's gonna summon UFOs and we can aim our axes in between her and the UFOs. And we can get them stuck and do more damage. I think I have to unload here. Yeah, okay,
Nice.
cool. I got some pretty good takes there. Those are actually really, really precise. So
Yeah, it's always a scary fight because you're always down to 1 HP every time.
Yeah. We are down to 1 HP in many fights in this game because it just turns out that damage and end up saving time. And if you really want to go the fastest that you can in this game, you have to basically view your health bar as a resource and just take damage whenever it saves time. So we do have to play in a pretty scary YOLO way most of the time. Hilda is one of those fights where you end up down to 1 HP pretty quickly, and it's also one of the fights where it's the easiest to get hit on accident by random flying stuff. Cagney is a fun fight here. I might be getting better in G here, we'll see. Lunge, pod hands are usually not good news. Yeah, okay. We're on to final phase, and we have opportunities for triple damage lob reaxes here, but I only will have 3, so I'll have to exit out.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Nice.
That was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Alright, so that was a pretty slow fight. Cagney is one of the trickiest bosses in IL-1, in my opinion, because he has so many potential different patterns and he's so hard to hit optimally.
Yeah, agreed.
But it is also the final boss of IL-1, so we're ready to move on. We're gonna go through this die house, which is a bit of an intermission. King Dice will check that we've defeated every boss in here and then allow us to move on. There's actually a frame room mechanic in here too, because King Dice has an idle animation on loop, and he can only start his dialogue at the end of that loop. And was a little bit slow dashing through there, so I missed it, which loses 0.7 seconds.
Rip.
Barons von Bonbon, do you want to explain the concept behind this fight, Michael?
Yeah, sure. So there are 5 different mini bosses you could get, and the game randomly chooses 3 of them. And so you really have to optimize like the best way to handle every mini boss. And so you kind of have to find something that works for everything.
Shout out to Mr. Butter for
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Mr. Butter. Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's
for
already done
optimizing all of
the
them.
3. Yeah, and now on the final phase, just finish her off here. Got a really good pattern.
Yeah, that was very good luck for sure.
Well played.
I'm gonna guess this is a 34. This brings me back to the days where, okay, yeah.
Nice.
We didn't used to run with, nowadays I at least run with a level timer display. So in the middle of the run, the autosplitter can read what the level time was and tell you right away at the end of a fight. So you get that instant feedback, which is nice. But back in the days, we didn't have that, and so I had to play a fun guessing game at the end of every fight where I'm like, oh, what time did I just get?
Yeah, I still do that. It's fun.
It's fun, yeah. All right, well, it's another boss plane fight. We just picked up mini bombs, which is a secondary weapon for the plane. We're gonna be able to use mini bombs for their EXs and also just for their damage here and there, although they are a little bit less damage than the machine gun, so I'll stick to machine gun whenever I can. They also, more importantly, open up a tech called Luigi Swap.
Oh, don't get the parry.
Yeah. I noticed. It's called Luigi swapping. Can you explain that for me while I try to close out this fight?
Yeah, so if you swap an EX in the same frame, it allows you to, kind of similar to Calva swaps, you can shoot while letting out the EX, which allows you to deal a ton more damage. So he's taking full advantage of that everywhere he can for both
Yeah.
weapons. There we go.
One like one.
So that's almost a second saved. Yeah, that's almost a second phase, second saved per Luigi swap, so it builds up to a ton of time throughout the run.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a bit of a bad wally because I made some mistakes in the first phase. I forgot to use an extra EX move at the start of phase 1. And in this game, if you have a full super meter in plane fights, it automatically gives you a nuke, which is an entirely different attack that deals decent damage but consumes all your cards. And I don't want to use that, so that's why I was careful to try and get that extra parry. All right, Jimmy is a very interesting fight. He has several potential patterns in phase 1. Looks like I'm only getting one parry here. And I missed the Luigi swap. Then you have to go through this phase. These heads, the damage dealt on them contributes to the global health bar for Jimmy. So I'm trying to maximize damage on them. I'm trying to shoot 5 bullets on them. And then I'm trying to hit a mini bomb and a pea shooter bullet on the same frame to try and hit them both as the finisher. Okay, I hit 5 ticks there. There's a 6 frame window to get 6 ticks, but that's pretty difficult. And a 4 frame window to get 4 ticks there, which I didn't get either. So we're probably looking at a pretty slow Jimmy here. Puppet phase, it can send some parries. I'm only gonna try to aim to get 1 here. Finish it off with a Bomb EX. And then for the final phase, we just unload 4 EX moves and it should be good to go. The routing for... Actually, I can use that Bomb EX. The routing for this fight is pretty difficult because basically... you still want to play around in such a way that you don't get the nuke, but you want to maximize your EX usage and you want to maximize the EXs in the parts of the fight where you deal the most damage. And since you can get a different amount of parries in different phases, then the optimal plays depend on multiple factors. So there's that. All right, so we're on to Beppy. Michael, do you want to take care of Explain Beppy glitch for me while I try to execute this difficult trick?
Right, sure. So Beppy skip You want to deal as much damage to phase 1 as possible without getting him in phase 2 until now, where you want to offload as much as possible so you completely skip phase 2 and effectively locking the phase in phase 2. And so this cuts down on transition times and saves around 20 seconds, which is huge. It's actually one of the only major skips in this run. We're taking full advantage of it here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do get Beppy stuck in his hardest phase.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we do have to navigate carefully around these balloons. It's very easy to die because oftentimes you're down to 1 HP here.
Yeah, very easy to choke. But 42, amazing.
Yeah. I think I hit the triple damage Lob Reacts in phase 1, which I didn't really talk much about, but there's a thing with the Lob Reacts where on top of being bugged, where if you hit it on the ground, it explodes twice, it's bugged in a different way as well. If you aim it in between an enemy and a floor, then you have a 50% chance, depending on whether the game processes the enemy first or the floor first, to get an additional Lobber explosion out, because it can hit the boss once and the floor twice, as opposed to just the floor twice. And so that becomes triple damage usually. Alright, Grim Matchstick is a fun fight because platforms are random. So a lot of this fight is kind of an improv, just reacting to what platforms you get.
Yeah.
Looks like we're getting a decent pattern here in phase 1, which we're always happy to see. The good patterns in phase 1 are the ones that are longer, so that you can keep up more spread damage for longer. Because here in phase 2, we have to kind of play it from afar, and here it's very nice to have Lobber. And it's longer range. During this phase transition, we're gonna unload the X moves, and then collect 1 card, and then jump in for the final bits of damage for this fight.
Nice.
Not even close.
Nice.
That was probably a pretty good Grim. I'm gonna bet a 49, maybe even 48.
50.
48, yeah.
Dang.
Oh, wow. Very well played.
Thanks. And that was also the last boss of Isle 2. So we're gonna go through King Dice one more time. So that's one more chance for me to hit the early frame roll. The leniency on this frame roll is 11 frames compared to optimal movement, so it's kind of tight, given you're doing several inputs here. Looks like we got it. And that's that. Isle 3 is a bit longer than the other Isles. This one has 7 bosses, and we're gonna start from a very interesting fight here, which is Rumor Honeybottoms. It's another fight with random platform positions. The way this works is each row, as we scroll up the screen, will randomly have one of the platforms go missing. And Rumor has 3 main patterns. She can start by summoning orbs, either by triangles or middle pattern. We're getting one of the side patterns. And we're getting orbs, and I can tell because there's no rattling sound effect. This is not off to a good start, but this is also the toughest pattern to get a 2-cycle on, which is what we want to do. It's actually very unlikely I'll get it here, given how that first cycle went, but I'll try.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
You know, second chance.
Let's roll it back. Yeah.
I guess we could potentially see a different pattern here.
Yeah, so there's 3 different
orbs.
attacks you can do. Orbs, which he just got. And then there's triangles in the middle. Middle's the fastest. He's getting another side attack here.
This is triangles.
Is it orbs? Okay, triangles. This is the easiest pattern to get a 2-cycle on, because she spends so much time on the screen.
I also want to quickly say
Yeah.
that the patterns are actually on a cycle basis, so if you get triangles, you always get middle next, and if you orbs, you always get triangle next. A lot of casual players don't really realize this.
Right. It's very important.
There we
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why triangles is easier, because the next attack is the middle pattern where Rumor just stays on screen forever. Or not forever, literally forever, but like for a very long time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, to try and get the 2-cycle off of orbs back there, I really had to try and optimize my damage, because by the moment I died, Rumor was about to leave the screen. Alright, the next fight is kind of low on RNG, though still some. This is a very difficult fight, execution-wise, however. So we start off by going for a 1-cycle antenna, and I'm feeling spicy. I'm gonna do a weird strat here. Nah, I don't get it.
Go for the pass the X.
I've been experimenting with that.
Oh my
Maybe I'll
goodness.
experiment for that a bit more seriously.
Of course you
So
have.
you can aim an EX in between those two parts to immediately destroy them if you aim it really, really well.
Yeah, it's kind of a yellow strat.
Yep. And then here in final phase, we have a bit of a bullet hell to navigate. I'm also trying to aim my mini bombs either at the top or the bottom of Cal, because due to a complicated mechanic, it can actually deal 1.5 times as much damage. And that was the Cal fight. Honestly, for going for the Tasiax, that wasn't even that bad of a time.
Yeah.
Like for going for it and missing it. And that's that. The next fight is another ground-based fight, which is Sally's stage play. Probably one of the easier bosses here in Isle 2. However, she's pretty high in RNG. And the most crucial part of the fight is in phase 1, where she has a wide selection of potential attacks. What we really don't want to see is for her to vanish from the screen, and we're going to try to set up a lubber trap if we get that. And if she doesn't land on it, which she didn't, it usually causes an extra cycle. In that case, it didn't actually matter that much, though, because that was the last attack anyway. So it was basically as if we were going to get an extra cycle regardless. So that was pretty bad phase 1 RNG.
Wow. Very nice phase 2.
Yep. And the rest of the fight is kind of straightforward. We're just going to use these iframes to damage boost and use another spread EX. And then as she leaves, we're going to do the same thing again. And then set up a lubber trap for final phase. This should hopefully be done in an instant.
Nice.
Wow.
There we go.
Solid.
Yeah, for unfortunately we did get bad phase 1 RNG, but what?
Oh, wow.
Okay, I was not expecting that time.
That's good.
I guess so. Okay, I'll take it. All right, next boss is hard. So this one is Werner. Yeah, this one is Werner Vermin. I think the only person in the community who goes for parries on this fight, which makes this fight quite a lot more complicated and difficult to execute. You can only get parries off of the catapult attack, which he may not do. Yeah, he's starting with bombs. So he can either follow it up with a charge or catapult, in which case, if I do get catapult, I'll take him. Okay. Okay, we got 2 immediate parries. We could get 2 more. Okay, we only get 1. So I'll save this card. Go for a 6x here. We have another sprite swap, so we can get extra damage. And then, okay, I mistimed my first Lubber EX, but I was actually dealing 4 times as much damage with those Lubber EXs because in phase 2, Werner spawns another platform of his own, and that acts as a floor. So by aiming Lubber EXs while being up close and on Werner's left side, we can hit both floors at the same time. So our Lubber EX is going to explode twice, dealing 4 times as many explosions, basically. That was a pretty decent... No, it wasn't pairless, never mind. But that was a pretty decent Vermin still. The next fight is a pretty big RNG fiesta. Captain Brownbeard has a very wide selection of attacks. And he is cycle-based, and he gets invincibility once you deal enough damage to go into final phase. So what we want to see from him is a very specific selection of attacks that are like just as short as possible for us to get a 3 cycle. So we'll see what we get here.
Which gun?
Oh, we get a shotgun.
Wow, okay. Namesake.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 EXs. Okay, this is actual Captain SBD.
Oh
okay,
my
sure.
god. Yeah, of course you get it.
There. Oh, wait, what?
Oh!
What?
Did I miss an EX?
Yeah, I think.
Squid is a bit
Okay,
Okay.
I think you got Squid.
Yeah.
Don't die, Wolf.
Okay, that was kind of scary. Yeah, I probably forgot to shoot an EX move, which is why that felt kind of weird. But yeah, so that is the fastest possible Briny Beard pattern, at least for human play. That
if
is.
you didn't get a squid, it would have been.
And yeah, Squid is the only attack in this fight that you can cut short by just killing the Squid. Captain Brinebeard can also summon other animals. He can summon the shark, which you can shoot to speed up his exit, but it only saves up to half a second at most. And then he also adds Dogfish, which is the slowest one. So I'm glad we didn't see any of those. Calamaria, last plane fight in the run. This one is actually very complicated. Okay, starting off with Redfish. It doesn't look like we can get any parries, so this is looking like a parryless fight. Next thing is she's gonna summon some animals to aid her and then do the Ghost Attack. On the Ghost Attack, we have opportunity to do more ticks of damage with her Plany Axis, thanks to her head's hitbox going back and forth. And I'm not gonna get any parries because they're not worth it. Use a Bomb BX right there to maximize damage. Into phase 2, I'm gonna do a Luigi swap to be able to continue shooting while petrified, and I'm gonna wait for a card queue and shoot a Bomb BX. There's another sprite swap there, so if I shoot a mini bomb basically at the right time, I can deal 1.5 times as much damage. Wait, I was supposed to use a Plany Axe there, but okay. I actually missed a couple mini bombs there, but that's okay. So that was a pretty bug parryless fight. Unfortunately, I did make some mistakes, but that's a pattern I'd be pretty happy to see in a run. All right, and then we have the Phantom Express as our last fight of Aisle 3. I told you this was going to be a bit of a longer aisle. This is one of the most difficult fights in the run. And there's a few reasons why. First of all, in phase 1, we are going to have to deal with random eyeballs. And I'm going to have to kind of improvise and make sure that I can shoot them down before they hit me. Then coming up in phase 2, I basically have to watch out for these pumpkins on the side. Make sure they're coming on screen at the same time. Prepare a very specific Lubber trap. And hopefully one cycle this. It's pretty tight. Looks good. Okay.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I did miss that parry, but it's not a big deal. I got another one here. Phase 3 has 2 twins on either side. We're going to focus on that one first. Okay, I'm going to try and do a damage-less threat here. Because then when it comes on the left, I can shoot Lubber Axis to be able to hit them both and do double damage. And then for final phase, I'm going to do a Lubber trap that's a bit new. This ghost technique isn't new, but doing it on the left side of the screen is new. And then hopefully we can get a one cycle here. Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't have an EX move that I normally would have there, thanks to parry I wasn't able to get earlier in the fight, but that should still be a decent time. There we go. Alrighty. And we are coming up into the end of the game. So the next final area is going to be Inkwell Isle. And we're basically just going to have to deal with King Dice and the Devil. King Dice is a very long fight, and it's kind of special in that the way it's going to work is we're going to have a game board, and we're going to have a dice that we're going to have to parry and basically freeze at its current position. And the number it's going to display is going to be how many squares we're going to be able to progress forward. And these numbered squares are going to all correspond to a mini-boss. The way this board is set up, we have to fight at least 3 of them. And the fastest path ends up being 357, because these bosses are pretty fast, but they also minimize the amount of dice rolls we have to make, which is a pretty big deal because each dice roll costs, I think, around 7 seconds. So we have this cigar. We have to cycle it, so we can bait it that way, and then do some double or triple damage Lubber Axis to quickly finish it off. The next fight is the rabbit, so that's going to be number 5. We don't have any double damage opportunities here, so we're actually going to save most of our EX cards for the next fight, which is going to have them. This rabbit, it has 2 mini hitboxes. It has his face, which takes damage, and it has its hat, which does not, and also blocks all my spread bullets. So the way I have to deal with it is by continuously jumping and swapping to Lubber when I land. We'll see if we get more parries. Yes, we do. Okay, that's not a big deal. Just finish the fight off. And I purposely kept a full super meter because the next fight is going to benefit tremendously from us having as many EX cards as possible. That's going to be Piruleta on number 7. So I'm gonna start off by shooting a lob reacts in a spot, and then she has 2 main patterns, and then I'm gonna react to whichever one and do a different strat. Let's see here. Okay, so she charged, so I'm gonna have to chase her around the screen. Okay, she stopped after 4. There we go. Okay. That wasn't the cleanest fight, but charge is a very difficult pattern to deal with. The other pattern is where she spins immediately. And that one is very nice because she just remains stationary, so you have a much easier time to just stand there and do your triple damage lob reacts. Alright, and once we get to the end of the board, we just have to fight King Dice himself. We're gonna open it up with a next move. And then parry these cards as he sends them, and then hopefully we can kill him before the second round of these. There we go.
Nice.
Okay, and now we just have the final boss left, which is the Devil. And the Devil is by far the most difficult and complicated fight in the game. Because he has several potential attack patterns in phase 1, which are all dealt with in very different ways. And not all of them are as fast as each other. In fact, the delta between the best and worst pattern is usually about 20 seconds. There's a lot to say about this fight. What I'm gonna keep it at is, generally speaking, getting Dragon is good, and generally speaking, getting Spatter is bad, which is about a 50-50. So we'll see what we get.
Let's see.
We start with a clap. Now what do we get?
Oh.
Flames. Okay, this could be really good. Even if we get Spider, if we get a very specific Spider after the set of attacks, it could be decent.
Oh.
We get Dragon. I'm gonna go... Okay. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
I wasted an EX, I think. So I have to...
No!
Oh, I froze it. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that was good. I thought I missed a lob reacts, which is why I did that. Okay, so that is a soft lock. If you deal too much damage in phase 1, it's bad.
Wait,
okay, we got Flames
chance.
Clap, which could also be pretty good.
Oh,
okay, we got Spider here. This could still be alright. Okay, 200, so we're gonna get 0, minus 150. I don't know if that hit. I'm gonna assume it did. I think it probably didn't, but we'll see if we got the freeze here. The freeze is when you are really close to getting the soft lock, but then you get... Yeah, there it is. Ooh, nice. You get the finishing damage you need at the start of phase 2. And so you get this freeze, which brings the platforms closer together, so you can deal more damage with the robbery axes. And that's time, yeah. GG's. I have no idea what that time was, because I didn't have life split up.
Yeah.
I did have a couple deaths, so I'm expecting this to probably have been somewhere around a 30-minute loadless time. Which is not too bad. I think that's still top 100.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Cuphead. I imagine most people on the stream are familiar with the game, but for those who weren't, there you go. I hope it was fun. And thanks for having me on the marathon, Mark.
No problem. Is there any final words or shoutouts you want to give, like extra, or?
Shoutouts to the entire Cuphead community for the most part. It's been a very active period for this game lately, and it's been very nice to see. So that's also made me very, very motivated to continue running this game lately. So I hope to continue to have that for quite a long time to come, because it's definitely been incredible to see just how optimized this game is getting, but also how competitive this game is getting as of late. So for a game that is like as near and dear to me as this one, I'm definitely very happy to see that. So that's that. Thank you, Michael, also for being on commentary. I wasn't gonna have a commentator originally, but it was definitely nice to have somebody to kind of explain some stuff while I focused more on the game.
Yeah, thank you. You did great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right, and the next event is the end release portion of this event. We're having a collab with the end release community. Stick around for that. It's gonna be a giant, like 6-hour event, I believe it is, something like that. But yeah, thank you SBDWolf, thank you Michael, thank you everyone else, and I'll see you in the end release event. Bye bye.
Bye bye.